Oh, hello, good afternoon, everyone, and good morning if you're in this part of the world. I just want to warmly welcome you. My name is Benga Motayo, and I have with me a very dear friend, uh, Mr. Raf Charles. How you doing today, my man?
Hey,
My
hello
man,
to
my
everyone
man.
in all the time zones.
All the time zones, I like that.
Ah,
Awesome, awesome. First off, we'd like to apologize for those who may have been waiting for us. We should have started a couple of minutes ago, but we made it. All right. So today we just want to talk about leveraging the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which is AfCFTA, like we usually say. And my guest today is someone who is very passionate about Africa, has been to Africa a couple of times. He signed up to a lot of African-based organization. He's just naturally interested in the continental affairs, and he has a lot of insight as to what's going on the continent and on this part of the world. And incidentally, he's part of the U.S. Africa Trade and Business Network. He's one of our advisory member and is our director of membership and strategic development. So, Mr. Ravchaz, what's your opening? Give your opening remark to our
well,
folks out there.
well. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be part of this. It's quite exciting to help the continent. I think that's when people talk about helping each other and growing with each other. This is like excellent territory, excellent market to stretch out because when you try to look into other markets, let's say Asian market and everything else, South American,
Hmm.
European, it's not to say you can't get in, but being a pioneer in certain areas in Africa is for me it's much more profitable. I could share personally that I'm representing two companies. Let me just back up a little bit. With the U.S. Africa business hub, we've been focusing on importing um, goods from Africa. They're more than willing and able, but with this, remember, trade is bilateral back and
Bilateral,
forth, right,
bilateral, absolutely,
right. And so
absolutely.
the other focus is to say that, hey, guess what? We could ship things over there too. There's
Hmm.
opportunities to bring things over. Part of what I go over there, one, go take a look around, go to the
Oh, let,
countries. Yeah.
hold your thought, hold your thought a second. So what you're saying is, um, U.S. and Africa is a bilateral relationship. It's not so much about bringing products, selling in the US. It's equally important to talk about how US businesses can actually export into Africa, right?
Right. And it's really
Absolutely.
interesting because like Benga, me and you, we had that kind of conversation. It's really dynamic how, let's say, I have to go to Ghana. Well, if you could get into Ghana because of AfTA, you could get into the other nations as well. Okay.
Wow.
So
Hold
what
it.
that does
Hold
is,
it. I
yeah,
love
yeah,
that. Hold it. I
yeah.
love it. Awesome. I think folks need to digest that. To all of our US audience, either you're an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
either you're a student, or you're working professional, you're looking for a side hustle, or you're actually exporting already. Listen to what Mr. Ravcha said. AFTA is a game changer. Going into one country in Africa can actually give you access to other country in Africa. I just want people to digest that.
Right. You see, I did customs back in the 90s, import expos, as license broker, and things like that. And one of the things is like, remember, trade moves on the documents. Okay.
Mm,
Before the goods move, documents move first. And
mm,
having a harmonized system that you could understand is really important. So the African nations have been working on simplifying that process, and AFTA is what sort of brings that together. Now, remember, that's just part of the documentation, but remember, you still have to do your due diligence, and that's what's part of what our U.S. Africa Business Hub tries to do is you still need the partnership on the other end, right? You
absolutely.
still need to deal with the trusted investors and people that you're going to be dealing with. And so that's the two things you need: the documentation to bring things over, and the partnership. And that's one of the things, I think that's coming up with the expo, is meeting some of the people that you need to say, here, let me meet you, let's have this conversation. And that's really important. um, but
Thank you.
but just to jump back on the export
Absolutely.
section, right? um, when we're talking about exporting, I think sometimes people try to think about what products we can find here in manufacturing. You'll be surprised. There's simple items that they need. You don't have to think about big, heavy, expensive. Something as simple as screws and nuts and
Mm.
just parts. That's important. But there's another thing that the US is really strong as is services. Okay.
Awesome.
Data, computers,
Awesome.
just
Awesome.
like programming services, education services.
So I'm
Mhm,
going to have to interrupt you again. What I hear you saying, and I want our audience to hear this very well,
mhm.
is you do not have to export physical products before you
Exactly.
can be an exporter. If you are already a consultant, if you're already servicing someone outside of your home country, you are an exporter. I love that. I just want people to understand what we are saying here. And you and I know that the US government invests heavily into resources to help folks looking to expand internationally. So, what we are saying is if you are in the US right now, if you are a business owner, you're looking for options to expand your business, Africa is emerging. Africa provide an awesome alternative, and you can actually begin to be exporting your services to Africa, which incidentally happens to be one of the biggest exports from the US exporting services. So thank you for bringing that up. And I just want our US audience to understand that Africa is key and is an open market that we can all tap into. Please go ahead.
Well, it's also what is some of these African markets like is U.S. professionalism. Okay, that it brings in a sense of credibility to that person in Africa to say, here, this is the U.S. system.
Hmm.
Um, we're not talking about morals, or we're talking about like business. Like, this
Business.
person knows how to make money. This
Hmm.
person has a standard that other people could accept, right? So really, when you think about a business is a nexus of contracts. Okay, it's a nexus of contracts and everything else. And keeping these contracts and these agreements together, sometimes you need certain processes. So that's like in the US, there's so many consults, advisory groups, and things like that. You could fit in accounting services, right? That's good. Auditing services, quality control and check, like checking products and things like that. So there's other items and things that you could do that you can, um, not just do, but things you could offer. I think something else that's really important, and I know something that, speaking with Bang about,
Hmm.
uh, if you could do like one of these trade shows or trade missions, and you could do your research on the internet, but when you do a trade mission or you go overseas or something like that, or you meet some of the people who will come to the hub and they'll invite you back to the country and you do an exploratory visit, you could just look around and you may have the intention of just doing one thing, and you look around and you're like, wait a second,
It's so many
wait
opportunities.
a
I
second,
know. I
look at
know.
these opportunities here.
All
And
around you.
all around you. And I'll tell you what's surprising. Sometimes when people say the roads in America is paved, where you find gold on the
Hmm.
streets, you find money in the
Hmm.
streets in America. That's how I feel when I
Mm.
travel over. Right. Um,
Okay. I'm gonna listen. I want you to take that sound bite. He said, when you say the road leading to the US or on the street of the US is paved with gold, he's saying that that is how you see Africa. And
Hmm.
there's nothing that could be further from the truth. Opportunity is wealth, opportunity is money. We just need the enabling environment. And that's why we are committed to brokering that relationship between the continent. We are from the continent. I am a continental African. I'm an immigrant, so I understand Africa. And Mr. Ralph Charles is uh, an historical continental African too. He has a good understanding of over here and over there. And that's why we've come together to hold this event. And at this event, we're going to have a session that will be dedicated to this conversation. And we're going to be showing our audience how they can leverage the relationship we already have with the continent. We have lots of relationship with chambers of commerces in Africa, with a lot of investment agencies across governments in Africa, and we have country representative in over 12 countries. What we are telling our US exporters or intending exporters is that you may have been exporting before, it may not have been profitable to your liking, or you may not have considered Africa as an emerging opportunity. But we are saying through our platform, we have vetted, reliable folks who would be your wholesalers and retailers who are going to take off. This is like reverse engineering now. They are going to take your product and they're going to distribute your product. They're going to sell it for you. They're going to engage in your services through our platform. So you do not have to go to Africa before you can be successful. You do not have to sweat it out before you find reliable partners to work with in Africa. So we're calling on all US exporters, US businesses, entrepreneurs, underserved businesses, minorities, women-owned businesses looking to expand in their operation. Africa is emerging. So we want to take you to Africa without you leaving the US. We want to take you. And that's what you're going to see. And on the other side, you're going to have African businesses and producers with product and services. They will be on ground as well. For those of you who are looking for white label opportunity, you want to take product and rebrand it and repackage it and resell it. We have an ample abundance of those. So it's a win-win.
Vega, if you don't mind,
Yes,
I just want to say
absolutely.
something about
Absolutely. Please
the
go
white
ahead.
label.
Hmm.
I gotta tell you, I've seen some of the most amazing um, quality in textiles
Oof.
that I couldn't believe. Like, sometimes you see some stuff, some basic stuff you see in stores that here. But I'm telling you, I've seen textiles of high quality that you can't. Oh, look at you! That
Look
you
at
can't get.
this.
You don't
This is
see
for
over
my
here. They don't
wife.
really
That's
nice. Look
my
at that.
wife's. This is mine. All right. Many more of this stuff. This is a
Yeah,
gift
like
from one of our partners, Abuja Chambers of Commerce and Industry. They gave us this. They from one of their
this is
venues.
handmade. I'm talking about
Handmade, yeah.
handmade, high quality. So you can
High
get
quality.
different levels of quality depending on what you sell for. You don't have to sell everything as high qualities, and because some people may like something nice, relaxed, something easy around the house that you could do. But there's certain things that if you want to do like high fashion and I touched some of the quality and I came back with some, I'm telling you, it's really amazing. And guess what? It's not only like you could get some really nice things out of Nigeria.
Hmm.
Uh, and guess what? You could not only do business and ship it to the US, but you could actually ship it to other areas of the continent, not
Absolutely.
just back to the US. But I'm talking about you get it from Nigeria and you send it over to like Kenya or Uganda or something like that. So it's
True.
amazing. So the
And go
intra
ahead.
Africa trade is something also that people should really think about.
Thank you. And I actually want to echo what you have said. The whole purpose of coming with AfCFTA, a market of 1.3 billion people without frontiers, um, it's all part of how do we increase our intra-African trade. Other continents they do business with themselves, but when you look at Africa, I think it's only about 4 countries right now that are doing businesses with themselves, which is in itself doesn't make sense, right? Because from a logistic point of view, you're closer to each other. You can maximize your gains and profits. You understand your languages, and all of that, but it's not happening. So, AFTA is helping to break the barriers. Now, the barriers of transactions, logistics, compliance, um, maybe what do you call it now? The currency of exchange and all of these things, those barriers will no longer be there. And that's, like you said, it's a beauty. So, aside from coming outside internationally, you can do a whole lot of business with yourself within the continent. And this is one of the things ACTA we're in talks with the headquarters of AFTA, and this is one of the things they will be talking about as well. I go back to what you said. Africa is full of gold and opportunity, and irrespective of all the uncertainties, our job is to make sure we continue to break down the barriers and make Africa profitable for our people. Again, I love this favorite quote from CNN that the diaspora is Africa's secret weapon. I've said that probably about 100 times now. Wherever I go, I always talk about it, and it's so true because the diaspora has the knowledge, the experience, the resources, and the structure, to go to Africa and help Africa to maximize its potentials. And so both of us on this on the platform today, we're both diasporans. I am Continental diasporan. Is an historical diasporan. There are many more like us out there. We're all working hard to make it possible. So again, I want to make that call to action. Friday, the 10th of August, and Saturday, August 11th, at Marriott, Newark
August, you mean
International.
March?
Friday, the 10th of March.
No, you said March. You said August. You're saying August. I'm like August.
Oh, thank you. Oh, no, no, not August now. It's March next month, few weeks down the line. So, yes, Friday 10th, Saturday 11th. We look forward to seeing you. It's going to be this is just one session we're talking about. There's a whole lot of packaged sessions that'll blow your mind. It's going to be worthwhile. So that's it. That's it. So ACTA is a tool that we all have to leverage on and make Africa and the US to be successful.
And remember, we're
Um,
trying to export is the bilateral boom boom back and forth. We're trying to do exporting as well. Let's remember that portion.
Say that again.
Let's remember that portion that it's import and export. We're going both
Yes,
directions.
from both directions. And so yes, we're not leaving anyone behind. And on that note, I'd like to let our audience know that we are launching a retail incubation next month. And so, you and I know getting into real retail can be very expensive sometimes. If you are an emerging brand, if you are an underserved or a minority business with a product, getting into mainstream retail can be very challenging sometimes. So, what we have done is we have this space. It's going to be a retail incubation. You can sell your product, you can meet with potential buyers in wholesale and retail, and we're also going to have a wraparound services like compliance, packaging, branding, marketing, everything you need to succeed, so that you can get to a place where you can go get your own retail space. So that's the whole idea. It's coming in the pipeline. So we're very excited, and we will be talking more. If we have the time, we might maybe come back next week. Definitely, we're coming back next week, but we might talk about it next week. So that's also in the pipeline. All right, all right. So I think we've really, really, really. Oh, we have a comment here. I'd like to share a comment. Awesome, Hezra Jamida. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for your comment. We appreciate that. Please follow us on social media if you're not doing that already. I'm just going to quickly type in. Yeah, you can go to this website to learn more about this organization. That's our corporate website, USAFRICAHub.com. And of course, if you would like to register for this event, you can go to that website and just register US Africa Business Expo. You can go in there and register to be an attendee to this event. Of course, if you like to follow us on social media, this is our handle, US Africa Hub. That's our handle on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. So that's pretty much all we have to share with you. We hope you've been blessed. We don't want to keep you too long. We hope you've been blessed. I'd like to have a final word from Charles.
Well, we look forward to this event, but I think it's important is that you invite and share this information with others. Okay, the more of us who get into this, the better it is for us. Okay, because if more people involved, the government sees, hey, we need to improve. There's always need for improvement in all these within after and everything else. But when they see the numbers, we could get more attention. Okay. So please share these links with everyone. Talk to people, even young folks. We want people who are young teenagers, high school, who
Mm-hmm.
want to get this. They could grow with this. Maybe they could connect with their peers overseas because Africa is a very young continent. When you look at age averages across the continent, when I say Africa, I'm talking for all the nations, very young age. So invite the youth also to sit here, come and learn about this, and there's some opportunities for you.
Thank you so much. I like your call to action. So we're calling on you. You're not too young to get into what we're talking about. You're not too young to get into international trade. There are many ways you can get into international trade, many platforms, and so just understand what you have to bring to the table. And if you can't come to this event in person, you can also join us virtually as well. There will be an option to join us online, and you can meet and connect with folks on ground as well, which makes it beautiful. And also, if you like to have a one-on-one session, we would help you to arrange a matchmaking session with an organization or a buyer or a seller or a partner of your choice as well. So we're looking forward to seeing you. So again, we're calling on U.S. Businesses, exporters, those who are about to get started. We have an incubation system that would help you to get your business started and prepare you for success as well. So on that note, I just want to thank you, and I just want to thank Ralph Charles as well for coming on this afternoon. And until next week, Friday, I tell you to be inspired to succeed. Thank you and stay blessed.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye now. Bye. Thank you, Charles. So
Hey,
good
he's
to see
quite
you again,
welcome.
man.
All right, no problem. Later.
All right, man. Take
All right,
care.
take care, brother.